Hey guys. I know, 2 videos in a row, crazy. But I was just so inspired to make an ASMR video today because I just finished watching Come to Rest, most recent video. He uploaded it a couple hours ago and I just watched it. I thought it was amazing. He is such... The cat is making noise. He is such an intelligent, insightful guy. I was absolutely blown away by his ramblings in the video. So much so that I kind of just wanted to make a video about my thoughts on it. It's just, he reminded me so much of some of what I read in philosophy this past semester at college. And I wish I had the cat's meowing, the experience to be able to, I don't know, understand some of these philosophical, meditative points like on my own, but I kind of only can understand what I read. So that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about. I'll also be showing you a bit of a haul. I went to Barnes & Noble today. Walked to Barnes & Noble. Listened to some good old tunes on the walk. I'll eventually get to the perception chit-chat. This is my favorite kind of pen. Favorite kind of pen. It's right here. I actually have the pen out because I was taking notes during Come to Rest video. Can't keep me out of the student life for too long. I took some notes just because I immediately knew I wanted to talk about something similar because it was so interesting. And so I just wanted to get my thoughts together. I love to journal. I was journaling earlier today at Barnes & Noble. These are the notes I took. Right here. Because when he was talking about Come to Rest, right there, Come to Rest, he was talking about the infinity loop between what you perceive and the perceiver, and it just reminded me so much of Berkeley, the philosopher, because he said, esse is percipi, which is Latin. I actually took Latin last year, I don't know, which was, I loved Latin. It's just a very difficult language that I don't remember much of. You'll have to excuse the cat making noise. Esse is percipi, which means to be is to be perceived. 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 And I wasn't a huge fan of Berkeley's philosophy, but it sure was interesting. He basically mentioned how all there is what we perceive. All there is what we perceive. He was an immaterialist. I don't know. He was an immaterialist, which basically means that he did not believe that this physical book is like in an external world, where this Vaseline, this chapstick exists outside of my perception of it. To be is to be perceived. It's not saying that these things aren't necessarily real. It's just that whatever is real, what is real is just what your mind perceives. It's just what your mind perceives. It's kind of hard to argue with this fact if you think about it, because, you know, at a basic level, I can understand that I'm a person, I'm myself. I see things, I hear things, I smell things, and for the most part, what I can see, this book, is the same thing that someone else might see, the same book. But, you know, just think about things like color blindness, or people perceive colors differently. While I see this as blue, someone else might see it as green, or yellow, or brown. And because we perceive something differently, it goes to prove that this thing is subjective. It's subjective. How I perceive it is different than how someone else would perceive it. So all we actually experience is our immediate perceptions. I like the idea that Come to Rest was talking about how like my aura and this aura are like an infinite conversation, a loop, if you will. I'm not so familiar with, I don't know, auras, if you will. I wish I had the patience and self-restraint to meditate, but I'm really, really bad at meditating. I just cannot be that still and thoughtful for so long. But it is nice to think about. It's good to think about how we connect with the world, how we understand it, how we perceive it, what we make of it. This is one of the books I got at Barnes & Noble. Albert Camus, The Myth of Sisyphus, The Myth of Sisyphus. Because I recently read The Stranger, which is also by Albert Camus. And it's kind of a sequel-ish. It's not the same story exactly. I'm not totally sure, but I know The Stranger and The Myth of Sisyphus are often read together. So that's what I did, got this one. Camus is one of the existential, not good at pronouncing things today, authors of the mid 20th century. And I've been getting into that topic recently, even though I don't know how much I'm buying into it. I thought I would relate and like it a little bit more than I have been. But I've also just kind of been reading it on my own. And I'm sure I'll have different thoughts and opinions when I actually take the class. But yeah, this is one of the books I got. And then I got this book because it seemed interesting. Einstein's Dreams. A modern classic, Einstein's Dreams, is a fictional collage of stories dreamed by Albert Einstein in 1905 when he worked at a patent office in Switzerland. As the defiant but sensitive young genius is creating his theory of relativity, a new conception of time, he imagines many possible worlds. In one time is circular, so that people are fated to repeat triumphs and failures over and over. In another, there is a place visited by lovers and parents clinging to their children, where time stands still. In another, time is the nightingale, sometimes trapped by a bell jar. Now translated into 30 languages, Einstein's Dreams has inspired playwrights, dancers, musicians, and painters all over the world. In its poetic vignettes, it explores the connections between science, art, the process of creativity, and ultimately the fragility of the human existence. And I read that in the store, and it seemed right up my alley. So those are the books I got. Then I also got a puzzle. I'm such a sucker for puzzles. This one bunch of cat stamps. I always choose puzzles like these with like big, like bold, like individual little pieces, because basically there's like 50 puzzles in one. It's a lot easier than like those big like landscape type puzzles. And I don't really like puzzles for the challenge. I like just to have something to do. So I don't really like hard puzzles. I like being able to pick up any piece and kind of knowing where it'll go. But yeah, I loved Come to Rest video. I also enjoyed when he was talking about like the here and now, just kind of the present. He talked about the present and how when we're in these like infinity loops of your comment got a heart from Come to Rest ASMR. That's so funny. I just got the YouTube notification. The here and now, that reminded me of Kant when we read him. Not that I understand a word of what he said without my professor explaining it to me, but he was really interesting in a way that he said how time and space are a human perception as well. Like, they don't exist independently of the mind. They are, well, I think it was a priori, I don't remember the other word for it. They're a priori, which means they happen before experience. Oh my gosh, my professor would be so disappointed in me. I can't remember my notes. But it's necessary for anything else. Like, we can't understand, like, this being like a pen box if we don't have an idea of space, like how much space this takes up, or like its relationship towards like me and the distance between it. Space being something that human brings to the table, and in a way that I understood significantly less, but similarly, I guess, time is also a human construct. Maybe some physicists would disagree. I love science about space and time and all that. I wish I had the science-minded brain to like go and learn it myself, but I think it's all very cool. But I don't know, it's just interesting how our perception of the present is always going to be different than someone else's perspective. And yet we all have the same idea of space and time that's necessary for us to perceive anything at all. I think that's kind of all I'll talk about today. Again, I wish I had the mind to add more commentary to this kind of topic, but I'm still kind of in the process of understanding different ideas about the world and philosophy. I haven't quite been able to form my own thoughts and opinions on them so much, at least outside of an academic environment. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll see you in the next video.